Let's jump right into this explainer. We're looking at a super fascinating micro case study today. We are going to see exactly how a single, highly emotional, motivational quote literally sliced right through the absolute chaos of the internet. You know the feeling, right? We live in this era where every single app, every notification is just screaming for your attention. But what actually happens when a message asks you to do the exact opposite?
Well, almost 2 million people pay attention. To put it exactly, 1,879,075. That is the total view count a single piece of short-form content racked up by early 2026. And look, in this endless, noisy ocean of digital content hitting nearly 2 million views, that's no accident. It is a massive testament to how a deeply emotional message can strike a very specific resonant chord with a giant audience.
Which, of course, brings us to the big question here. In an attention economy that is built literally entirely on high-energy hooks and endless stimulation, how in the world does a digital whisper turn into a viral roar? I mean, how did a simple emotional quote about doing absolutely nothing manage to capture lightning in a bottle? Let's explore the irony of viral silence. The friction here is just brilliant. Think about the noise of the platform itself. The whole interface is relentlessly urging us to share, to remix, subscribe, click next. It is a machine engineered for perpetual motion. But then you have the message of the content, which simply says, learn to stay silent. It's wild. The platform is practically screaming at you to engage, while this emotional quote is quietly pleading with you to find some internal peace. That ironic friction, that's exactly what makes it so incredibly jarring and effective. So, let's break down the anatomy of a viral post and see how this actually works. This specific post was dropped by a channel called Life Marg Official on January 2nd, 2026. Now, this wasn't some massive corporate studio pumping out content. It was a highly targeted niche channel. And get a load of that date, January 2nd. That is literally the exact moment of the new year when people are desperately scouring the internet for a fresh start, right? They're looking for emotional grounding. Timing, as they say, is absolutely everything. And here is the emotional centerpiece of our whole explainer. It's a super compact dual language title leveraging the late spiritual teacher Osho, paired right next to a dizzy face emoji. I know, right? The crossover of the century? But seriously, it's a total masterclass in efficiency. You've got the Hindi phrase side by side with the English, learn to stay silent. By doing this, the creator instantly doubled the accessibility of this emotional motivational quote. They crossed cultural barriers without adding a single extra millisecond to the runtime. Pretty smart.
Now, let's look at translating the core message and how it totally slips our expectations.
Usually when we hear the term motivational video, which, by the way, is exactly how this was tagged, we instantly picture some guy yelling at us to wake up at 4 a.m. and just hustle, right? Motivation is fundamentally defined as the emotional drive for action. But here, the creator flips that high-energy expectation completely upside down. They deliberately categorized a command to stay silent under the umbrella of motivation. It beautifully targets internal peace, essentially motivating the viewer not to do more, but to do less. Next up, we really need to talk about the hashtag motivation engine and algorithmic reach. This back-end categorization is just ruthlessly calculated. They didn't just throw random tags at a wall to see what would stick. Nope, they hit the subject perfectly by leveraging Osho's authority for a specific niche demographic. Then they hit the genre by positioning silence as active motivation. And finally, they loaded up on format tags like shorts and viral video to guarantee maximum algorithmic reach across those super high-velocity feeds. It is literally the perfect marriage of deep emotional appeal and cold, hard machine learning. Let's move on to emotional resonance in numbers and check out the audience's reaction. Okay, this stat is wild. Out of almost 2 million views, there were exactly 313 comments. That ratio is so fascinating to me. Think about it. Millions of people watched, they absorbed this brief, powerful moment of quiet, and then they just kept scrolling. But exactly 313 individuals felt so incredibly moved by a video telling them to stay silent that they ironically felt compelled to break their own silence just to leave a comment. It really goes to show that emotional motivational quotes provoke highly personal internal responses rather than just generating noisy community chatter. So, the big takeaway here? A viral emotional quote is absolutely not an accident. It is meticulously engineered. It heavily relies on the power of contrast, actively pushing a silent message out onto a terribly loud platform. It uses broad accessibility with dual languages,
leverages massive authority by borrowing weight from recognized figures, and uses strategic tagging to flawlessly